Welcome to Insight Builder channel, my dear friends, Python learners, prompt engineers, and data leaders. Langchain, the prompt factory. Mass-produced prompts and apps. It's bigger than prompts, guys. Langchain Python library that I'm going to introduce in this video is connecting our world, the real world, with the large language model applications and models, the artificial intelligence models. How is it doing, and what is the power that is harnessed inside this particular library that is created? I am going to directly show you in the Internet Explorer, in the browser right now. If you head to the browser, we are going to work with, first and foremost, you must have the API key from OpenAI. Ensure that you have registered to OpenAI platform. Go to platform.openai.com and get yourself the account and get yourself the API keys from here. And you are also going to need two other API keys. One is from serper.dev, and it's a search, Google search API at low price at high scale. And another is SERP API. So this is also another Google search API that is available, and both have a free plan. Get the API keys from them. And the hero of this video is Langchain, and a series of next videos is going to be Langchain. This particular library has totally changed the way we work. We are going to work in the future. You will see in a moment what I mean by that. Let me head to the Google Colab right now. This particular notebook is hosted in Google Colab. Google Colab is one of the notebook execution environment, Jupyter notebook execution environment, which is how most of my videos are explained. The reason is that I can share this particular notebook with you over the GitHub. I will be sharing the GitHub link with you, where you can get the details that is shared in this notebook, okay, and in this video. That is the purpose. And why I am sharing this? Because you can practice. Okay, you can take this notebook, go to Google Colab, get yourself an account like the account that I'm showing here, and you can start practicing these steps by yourself, and you can see the result. Okay, without further ado, you have to first install these particular libraries. You have to install Langchain, you have to get layout parser, and most importantly, you have to get the API keys. Once the API keys are ready, then you have to also install Google search results. So this is where I'm getting my API keys into the execution environment. But in your case, when you are doing it on your personal basis, you can directly put the API keys here. So this is OpenAI API key, this is SERP API key, and this is Serper API key. Okay, just know the difference. Okay, this is SERP API and this is Serper API. Okay, the setup is done. Now I am coming here, and from langchain.llms, I am importing the OpenAI class. Okay, this is how I am importing. If you are new to Python, you might have to look at my other playlists where I introduce Python, mastering Python ecosystem, and learning to data engineer and solve problem in the real world. I explain everything about that in those playlists. And also, if you want to come up to speed in Python at a very high speed, then take a look at this video. You will actually get an accelerated way of mastering Python, and that too using ChatGPT prompts. And believe me, after you see this video, you will want to learn Python, because the power that is getting in the hands of those who can manage large language models is tremendous. So let me go to the this particular cell now. So in order to execute this cell, you can actually click on this play button, or you can just press Control Enter on your keyboard. I'll press Control Enter. However, you see this OpenAI is the function that calls the OpenAI API. So that will do that, and it will set the temperature equal to 0.9. If you are not aware of what is this temperature, how this impacts the large language models, do look at my earlier videos in this playlist. You will get an understanding. I will share the playlist also in the cards at the top of this video. You can take a look at that. Now what I'm asking is, so I want a top 5 birthday gift ideas for an 18-year-old. I'm not giving the gender here. I'm just giving this query. This is actually the prompt. Okay, I'm just giving the prompt to the language model, and this language model is the variable that I have created, lang model. And I'm going to press Control Enter, and you'll see that it will provide me top 5 birthday gift ideas, and you see that it gives me 5 ideas. This is pretty normal. I can do that over I can go to chat.openai.com and I can get the same output. But the point here is not that. What you're going to see next is most important. Prompt templates. I can create a template. So instead of typing all this every time, I can create a template myself, and I can actually make the topic as a variable. So this is how I set up the prompt template. And in the topic area, this time I'm going to ask 3 book suggestion. So let's see what happens. The moment I execute this, you will see that I provide me, instead of the topic, I'm getting 3 book suggestions. Now we don't need to stop there. We can make this 18-year-old also into a variable. So that is what I'm going to do next. And I'm going to ask cartoons. Let's have a little fun, guys. And what we get, we are going to get the top 3 cartoons for 10-year-old. Okay. This is all fine, but how to use this prompt? The next step, we are going to pull in something called as Langchain.chains. From there, we are going to get something called as LLM chain. This particular method is going to use this particular prompt and start working with the OpenAI API. So here I'm going to ask, let us change the things. I'm going to ask tourist spots, and age, let us take 21, and let us execute. So all it took me to change the entire prompt was just 2 variables. So Great Barrier Reef, Australia, Grand Canyon, USA, and Giza Necropolis, Egypt. That is a different way of prompt engineering, right? You have not seen the actual power of it still. Let us go to the next step. This is the place where you are going to be totally surprised. I am pulling 2 agents. These 2 agents, load_tools and initialize_agent. These are coming from Langchain Library again. And I'm going to use fact LLM. Okay, the same OpenAI API only, but I'm giving the temperature equal to 0. So what this does is, the AI large language model does not alter anything. It does not hallucinate. The hallucination is reduced. If you're not aware of hallucination, if you're not aware of the characteristics of this kind of large language models, do a little bit of literature study. You will understand these things. Large language models do tend to hallucinate. So try to keep the temperature equal to 0 or near 0. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to load two tools. One is SERP API, another is LLM map. This SERP API is what we got from the SERP API serper.dev website, and that is what we are going to use. And this is the agent decider. So this agent decider variable is going to decide how the OpenAI large language model is going to interact with the real world. The real world is the search engine world. Okay, search engine is where all the updates are coming from the real world, right? The search engine of Google, search engine of Bing. Now, what is happening is we can directly interface with Google's API using this command, the command that you're going to see here. I'm going to ask, when was Earth born and how many days it has been since its birth? What do you think the answer will be? You will be surprised. The way the answer comes is more important. It actually goes into the search action, okay? And then it asks, okay, when was the Earth born? And it waits for the input. And once the input comes from the search API, then it does the calculation. So it takes a little amount of time, and because it is searching from the internet. And you see that it completed. So about 4.5 billion years ago, Earth was born, and it calculated that how many days are there, because I asked how many days it has been since its birth, and I got the answer. Earth was born 4.5 billion years ago, and it has been, oh, come on, these many zeros, how will I find out what it is? Cool, we have it under control. Next, what we are going to do is, we are going to create a ChatGPT like option here. So we are going to import conversation chain. So like how we imported the LLM chain here. Where was it? Just a minute. We had imported it. Yeah, we had imported it here. Let me give a space. Like this LLM chain, I am right now going to use conversation chain. In the conversation chain, I am going to give the fact LLM, the large language model that I created, and I'm going to say verbose equal to true, and I'm asking convert this number. So I take this number and I'm asking it to convert it into billion. Okay, let us see how it replies. And I'm using this predict method, convo chain predict method, and you will see that it gives me this number is equal to 16,642.25 billion. Now I still want to get some more information. Okay, I want to know the number I gave earlier was in days, convert it into hours. Okay, so I'm not giving any other information. I am telling that gave earlier. The prompt is I gave earlier. That's it. I am not telling that the number or anything. So let us see whether it replies properly, and it has memory, and you will see that it replies correctly. Where it is? Sorry. Yeah, you see, this is the number of hours. You can calculate it if you want, and that is correct. Okay, this is all fine. This is all done easily by the existing chat.openai.com or ChatGPT API. What is so special about Langchain is what is going to come next. There is a Langchain class called as SQL database and SQL database chain that can be imported, and you can actually connect to the SQL database using this kind of connection string. So whether it is PostgreSQL or Oracle database or whatever database it is, there is a connection string that we can use. Here I am using SQLite, and this particular chinnook.db will be provided to you in your GitHub, in the GitHub repo that I am sharing. I will be sharing the link for this particular database in the YouTube, this video's description. All you need to do is come here and upload the database here, and it will come here as chinnook.db. Okay, and then what you need to do is just execute this command. What it will do is Langchain will get connected to the database. Okay, that's simple. And next is what is going to be really fun, guys. The reason why I actually made this video is that we can connect to the database and we can ask questions about the database. You will see that I am asking questions here, that how many tables are there in the database. Okay, and you see the answer. You will be astonished. You'll see that there are 4 tables, and in fact there are 4 tables there. Okay, not more than that. And next I am asking list the table names in the database. Okay, and I'm not actually asking it to query. It is doing everything by itself. You see these particular classes and these chains have been programmed in such a way that it can link with the large language models, these kinds of fact models, and then it can actually query, get the data from the real world, that is the world of databases. Even it could be from the sensors, it could be from the browser, from our vehicles in the future, from our microphones, from our camera, and then it can appropriately respond. So album, artist, genre, and media type, these are the 4 tables inside that. You can actually check it out from the database. You can check it out. And I'm going to ask the final question. I'm asking how many unique artists are there in the, I'm not just telling anything. I'm just telling that how many unique artists are there. I'm not even telling that go and check it in the database. Okay, think about it. It is able to actually go back and do the count, do the select count, and it is doing a distinct on the artist ID and coming back with 275 unique artists, and that is correct, guys. The point here that I'm trying to make is that the power of Langchain, when it is let us go back to the presentation, when it is linked with the Python classes and functions and the large language models, things go really powerful. Things really become very powerful. But in fact, it's not just one language model, guys. There are 28 providers or more now at this current moment. There are more than 28 providers of large language models like the one that has been provided by OpenAI. The OpenAI or ChatGPT large language model is only one such model which got more prominent, but there are many other models that you can interact using Langchain. And you can connect with search, as I showed you. You can connect with Wikipedia, you can connect with Wolfram Alpha, you can connect with the internet also. I have not shown that to you. In the future, I will be making more videos on that. Do subscribe and share and like this content. It's very important. And practice. The most important things is, guys, that the purpose of creating this kind of a notebook and sharing it with you guys is that you can actually take this out, take your time out on these notebooks and start practicing. Okay, and all these libraries, I have checked it thoroughly that once you install these libraries, it starts working. Okay, that is the intention that I want to share it with everybody. And do subscribe to my channel so that in the future, when I upload the new videos, you will get the notification on your YouTube dashboard. Now let us continue again to our steps. What is actually going on? And it connects with the databases also. Not just any database, it connects with vector databases. If you are not aware of vector databases, stay tuned, guys. I'm going to start going into each and every step of Langchain module and update all the options. And you yourself also can go and check the Langchain library in this, in this terminal. If you go to, just a minute. If you go to this particular link, HWChase17 Langchain, this is the GitHub repo where the development is happening, and you can get all the information and even the documentation. You can click on this documentation link and it will take you to the documentation area, and you can get all the information that I am sharing here. The intention of putting all that information in this kind of a presentation is because the way the documentation is provided is for reference purpose, but here I am trying to collect the information and provide it to you in such a way that you can easily grasp the entire power of this Langchain library. That is the intention. That is the difference between the documentation and this presentation. So the major point here is that creating chains on which the LLM will query and reply. That is what Langchain does. It's no more about prompts, guys. You see, prompts are just the triggers. Okay, prompts are just the triggers. What actually prompts does is you can actually take a manual prompt, or you can actually create a prompt template as I showed you, and you can pass the output also, because as you saw that in the SQL database case where I was querying the SQL database and I was getting the output, just imagine how the engineers would have got all these things done. So the output, whichever is coming from the SQL database, has been put into kind of a prompt template and then resent into the OpenAI API. That is how it is actually happening at the backend. This is not shown to you in the front end as this Langchain model is working. Okay, if you just a minute, just hold on a minute. If you go to your own platform.openai.com accounts page, you can see that each and every day how much of the API calls you are making. And if you scroll down a bit, you can actually see how many requests you have done. And once the request, just now I made some requests, right? You can actually check how many requests are going in and how much to which model it is going in. And you see 8 requests has gone in and 103 completions have come out. And these many prompts has gone through. The question is, I did not even, just a minute, let me zoom in. The question is, I did not do any of the prompting, right? I was just executing these small questions. These are all small questions. How can that be this big 3912 tokens. Cannot be. So what is happening is, in the backend, the Langchain model is taking the input from the SQL database and it's converting and then resending it to OpenAI API. That is how it is working. That is the power, guys. The point I am, again, understanding these things is also very, very important. The future is going to be much more complex, and these basic steps that we are taking today is going to make our lives far more easier. Okay, you understand, you, the viewer, understands how the actual brain of a very, very huge artificial intelligence network is going to work in the future. Caching the model. After you prompt with the output parser, you can cache the model also, and you can load, and data can be loaded. So this is what the entire Langchain model is doing. After that, the actual work is done by utilities like SQL database utilities and tools, the agents, the agents that was helping to decide whether what to do with the results, and the language models. Finally, these three things are going to be chained. And again, it starts with LLM, guys. So there are lots of prompt templates available. There is different kinds of options available inside Langchain that I've listed here. And this is the number of LLMs available today. All these are different companies providing LLM, their own large language models, which through an API, and we can connect to them, and they all, almost all of them have a free tier through which you can practice and you can check the output. So every API, every AI large language model will have different kinds of outputs. The point here is, what I'm trying to make is, it's not just OpenAI, it's not just Hugging Face, it's not just Goose AI. So there is a huge amount of ecosystem that is building right now, and it is a fun time to be around, guys. Let us dive a little more deeper into Langchain. So all these points, I am planning to make some more additional videos where I will go into all this separate modules and try to explain. Not every part of it, the parts which is more useful and that can actually help you in your real world applications and day-to-day life. I am sure going to take a look into that and make more videos on this topic, guys. And so stay tuned and do subscribe. There are 28 different document loaders. Any kind of documents ranging from emails to PDFs to YouTube description, Word and PowerPoint. Yeah, that too is done. And even as I told you, SQL database is one thing. We can connect Python also. We can connect Bash, the Linux shell prompt. Directly you can connect to it, and it can be allowed to query your own operating system. And request wrapper is where it connects to the internet. I showed you the SERP API and the Google Search API already. These are the vector stores. So there is a new kind of database required when we are going to store numbers and the text related to those numbers. Vector databases and vector embeddings might be new to you. Okay, don't worry about that right now. I will be taking a separate video on that specifically and how to use these databases. These are all available right now. Chroma DB comes, you have to do a pip install in the Collab notebook. Let me go to the notebook again. Let me show it to you where I actually got this in. So you see this Chroma DB. This is where you get this particular database that I'm talking about. So you will get it here, and Deep Lake is one of the new and important database that is also coming up, getting developed. And Pinecone is available right now. You can go to the Pinecone and you will get the free tier available, and you can connect to it using API. These are the utilities, the text splitters, the embedders, the hypothetical document embedding utilities, and these are the various chains. What I showed you in the terminal, what I showed you in the Internet Explorer in the Collab, these are all chains. So yeah, the LLM chain, the SQL database chain, where it is, yeah, SQL database chain. So these are all various chains that is available inside the inside the Langchain library that I will be touching separately. These are all very important functions that needs to be taken care. We can actually create QA chains with sources and without sources. We can create chat interfaces also with using the chains. And the major chain classes are LLM chain, sequential chain, and transformation chain. And there are custom classes too that we can be written. This is going to be one of the major development area in the future. The area where custom chains will be developed for individual companies and their products. That is how it is going to work. And these particular, whatever I'm talking about, these files, these vector stores are going to be the supporting ecosystem around the this kind of programs that is going to come up with. And Python is in one of the best position for these kinds of programming right now. Coming to utility chains. So the SQL database chain that I was telling is part of another 8 different chains that can be used. So there is LLM map chain. So that I used in the when I was asking for the Earth age. So this one was actually calculating. If you go up, you'll see there is a calculator. So this calculation is coming because I am calling this LLM map. So this is a chain that is already written inside the Langchain ecosystem. So there is something called as Langchain Hub. Take a look at that. You can get those information in the GitHub repo. And there is actually LLM Bash, as I was explaining. There is API chain, there is Python REPL chain, and also you can moderate it. So if there are certain, as I was explaining, there are so many different large language model outputs. However, all the large language models out there are not, does not give ethical and correct answers. It might actually give sometimes very dangerous answers also. So in order to moderate those answers, there is a separate kind of a chain that you can use. That is also taken care by the Langchain library. These are the major points I want to highlight before I go to the actual players, the decision makers. The decision makers in Langchain are the agents. In case of agents, again, they are programs written in Langchain, which can actually work with, these are the major agents: React, self-ask with search, MRKL and MRKL chat. These 3 are the major agents, and the agent toolkits are the various agent toolkits that you are listed here. Starting from comma separated value file, CSV files agent, pandas data frame. If you are not aware of pandas data frame, I have a separate video where I explain everything about pandas data frame in my playlist. Take a look at that playlist where the mastering the ecosystem. If you go to this playlist, you'll see that I have a very detailed discussion on the libraries that is used around the Python ecosystem. Like how Langchain I'm explaining here, it's also a library that is used around the Python ecosystem. So pandas is also one such library. Okay, you can take a look at that video and you will get an idea. But you might be wondering, okay, why if the large language models are going to do everything for me, then why I should learn all these libraries? See, the point is still clear. These large language models can help you out to speed up your activity. But in order to speed up that activity, you need to have the mastery over your skill. Like if you can play with the pandas data frame by yourself better than large language model, then when the large language model is creating the outputs, you will know like whether it is right or not. If the SQL database chain is giving you an answer, and if you don't know how to check whether it is right or wrong, then how are you going to take it forward? What if the database chain is giving a wrong answer? How will you check it? So human is still required. Human skill still matters. Okay. So there is no replacement for human. What is it called? Intuition, human skill, human decision making here. What the large language model and this ecosystem around Langchain is doing is that it is speeding up our work. Okay, it is not going to, again, the way you are looking at it, take a look at it. Instead of managing 2 databases, one guy will be able to manage 10 databases. And that means the company in which that particular person is working is going to be able to manage more customers. And those customers are again going to be working somewhere. So this is actually going to improve the overall economy and the ecosystem. As a whole, yes, our lives are going to become much more faster, but it is going to become much better. So OpenAPI agent, JSON agent, SQL database agent, all these agents, I'll be trying to take separate videos on these guys, but this is I'm trying to explain to you. And as I was explaining, there are ways to make the LLMs to get a kind of a memory inside the Langchain ecosystem. Okay, yes, they have memory. These LLMs have memory, but not the level to which Langchain can actually argument it. So large language model is kind of a it's not a brain. Okay, we cannot say that it is a brain. It's kind of a data. It's kind of a database. It's kind of a new database which can actually change in different ways that we cannot explain it in a visual fashion. Like that is the large language model. Okay, and Langchain is going to be a tool which can work effectively with this large language models. And prompt engineering, it's not how it is going to work, because you don't need to engineer the prompts anymore. The prompts are going to be mass produced. Okay, and the Langchain model is Langchain library is going to be the factory, as I started. So Langchain library is going to be the factory, and prompts are going to be mass produced. Sitting and prompting manually is no more. It's not required. And you will not be able to do the prompts manually also. So let me show you an example if you are still not convinced. I had also created a video 2 days in the same, and I uploaded the video also, where I talk about creating the database challenge, how to improve the databases through ChatGPT. And I have also spoken about how to get the prompt using the datasets. This one. So this video talks about how to prompt using the dataset. If you look at this, you will be surprised at how challenging it is to connect the existing raw data and push the information to large language models and get the information. But here, all I am doing is I'm simply asking that, okay, tell me how many tables are there in the database, and it is listing the tables, and then it is giving me the unique count in the table. So this is a different way of working, guys, and we have to start practicing. This is the important point that I wanted to highlight again. We have to start practicing our basics, whether it is Python, whether it is SQL, whether it is problem solving. All these skills are extremely important nowadays. The more you can problem solve, the faster you can use ChatGPT and large language models like ChatGPT. Okay, and you are not going to just use it manually. You are going to use Langchain like libraries. Langchain is not going to be the only library. Okay, I'm pretty sure there will be other libraries also coming into the ecosystem in near future. However, the point here is that they will also work around these kinds of ecosystem only. So Langchain has been the pioneer in this way of creating the library. So take this opportunity and start mastering it. You have got all the resources with you. You have got the Jupyter notebook where you can practice, and you have got this particular video which introduces, and also the most importantly, you can go to the documentation and take a look at it also. So all these things are available for you guys. So all that is left to you right now is that you start practicing the basics, and if you have to work on your Python chops, problem solving chops, and your SQL database chops, start doing that, guys, and it's going to be a fun time. With this, I want to close this video. Do subscribe to my channel and leave a like, and if you have any questions, comments, do leave it in the comment section. Share this, guys. Share this video. This is also very important. Share this video with your colleagues, friends, and your boss especially. Why not? Tell him what is possible, because he should also be aware that yes, you are actually learning. Okay, so keep learning, guys, keep practicing, and till the next video, 4 words: practice, 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 practice. See you guys, have a nice time.